Well, welcome back to Stockton Junction. So, as the title says, seafoam. So I wanted to just let you know a little bit about what's been going on. Well, I bought this box of seafoam trees probably 3 or 4 years back. So, took out all the ones that were of use, used them a long time ago. Now, as you can see in the bottom, you see all those little black bits, like these tiny black bits. Don't know if I can focus. Those are the seeds. These are all the black bits that you see on there. They're seeds. Now, I thought, well, first some background. So, I bought a packet of seafoam seeds a couple of years back for quite an expensive price. I think they were about 7 or 8 quid. Grew them exactly as they told me, in propagators, moistening regularly, do blah blah blah. Nothing happened. Nothing grew. Absolutely zilch. Waste of money. So the other day I was making some seafoam tree armature bits ready, and I was over here doing it, and obviously on the side as I was sweeping up I thought, oh well, I've got tons of these seeds, so you know what, I'm just going to chuck them outside in the garden. And then I had another idea as well. So what I did, I threw some just loose on the garden. They're growing. I also threw a whole load. I filled a tub with some compost and put it in. And guess what? Well, here's what's happened. So as you can see, I have well, not thousands, a couple of hundred seafoam plants growing. Literally great big clumps of them. I've already pulled this section out and planted those. I grabbed this whole piece out and I planted them into the garden, and absolutely hundreds of seafoam plants. So with all of these in here, I needed to do something, so this is what happened next. So this whole section of garden was grass, and it wasn't in keeping with the garden because it was an odd angle. So I dug it all out, put a little path across, which I'd been planning to do anyway, and I've started to plant the seafoam plants. Now I've only done up to about here now. I've still got all of that to fill and that little bit down the side, but as you can see I planted these several days ago and they're doing really well. Absolutely flourishing now. So I'm going to have a lot of seafoam. I'm going to have to put the rest into there very soon, and I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest. I'm going to have to try and buy a load of pots and pot them all up, or see if there's places in the other places in the garden where I can put some, because I want as many to grow as I can, because it's going to be a lot of trees and I'm going to need a lot on the layout. So but yeah, I thought I'd just show you. So when you're buying a box of seafoam from somewhere, don't discard all that stuff. If you've got an odd bit of garden, just chuck them on. I did it in about mid-May time and it's worked well. So but I would consider that. As you can see, there's not much space in other parts of the garden. That's all full of stuff. So literally this was my only option. So anyway, I will update you guys and show you how they progress over the coming months, and hopefully might have a lot of seafoam. I might even have too much, who knows. Anyway, thanks for watching. I know it's only a little short video, but I thought it might be of interest to anyone who wants to save a lot of money. Well, I've now completed this area and they're all in. You can't see them very well from up here, but if I come down you can see just there's one. They are all over, so I've planted them all in. Those are all a bit droopy because I've just planted them and they need to root in properly, but they'll be fine. But so I filled this whole area here. I've put in a little row there and a row going all the way along there as well. So I've got quite a lot of them now. But I've still got all of these still to try and plant. As you can see, this is where I've pulled out clumps like that to try and grow them. I have all these pots here, so I'm going to be filling all those. I've got another load coming tonight, and I'm going to be planting a lot of these into these. Well, I say a lot, all of those there would probably take up that little bit there. So I've got an awful lot of them, so I need a lot more pots. But I'm going to try and grow or transplant as many of these as I can, because obviously they're going to be really useful. And if I've got an awful lot left over, I'll be able to sell quite a lot of it as well. So I'll be doing some really cheap deals on seafoam if it all works out well. So we will see. Little bit of hard work going into it, and a lot of obviously I've got to buy all this soil. I've got to buy a lot more pots, because I'm probably going to need, this whole area is probably going to get covered in pots basically. But the one good thing about these is you don't need to water them too much. You actually, because they're from a desert environment, you don't water them. You just leave them in and they'll grow. Water them very, very occasionally if it's been really dry for a long time. But yeah, they've absolutely boomed. So quite a lot. So just a quick update on the plants. As you can see, not many left in that trough now, but there's a lot put out. There's a few not made it, and some of them are coming on really well. So we should be getting quite a bit of seafoam trees out of this lot. So I've got a few more elsewhere in the garden, some planted out, as you know. I've got a few pots over by the shed, so I've got a lot of plants. But yeah, they're coming on really well. So looking good. So another update on the seafoam. I try to keep doing regular little updates so you can see the progress. They are growing, as you can see. There's quite a few there, and there's a few over there. They're a bit harder to spot in the shade. This middle section, they seem to die off, but they're not doing as well here as in the pots, which I'll show you now. So the pot ones, some of them are absolutely going crazy. As you can see, I've got some really big plants growing. I've got rid of all of the ones in there now. There's just 3 left in there, which are getting okay. Some of them have got really big, some are growing very slowly, some have died off. Although the ones that died off, a few of them are actually still growing. Look, like this one here died off, but it's got a green shoot coming, so that might come back. So I'm obviously still watering them just on the off chance. But some of these have got really big now, and they're coming on really well. So I'll do another update in a few weeks and show you the progress as they get bigger. I've also already put a load of pots along there, over there, to start spreading them out, because these only grow for about a foot high, or maybe a bit more, about this high, but they actually grow quite wide. So they grow up to 2 foot wide. So I'm going to have to start spreading these out around different areas as they get bigger to allow them to spread properly. I've also got a few over by the shed. I've got a few here. That one's died off, but as you can see, some of them like that, they're all the same size when they were planted. That one's grown, the second one in's grown very small, and these have grown very big. So all dependent on the plants. Some grow quicker than others, and it's always better to grow more than you need, because obviously some of them died off and some aren't probably going to grow very well, like the smaller ones. So if you wanted, say, 10 plants, I would suggest growing at least 30, just to be on the safe side, and weed out maybe the ones you don't want and keep only the bigger ones. Well, I lost the last video I made for this part of the series, and due to a broken phone, but I've now harvested some of the seafoam, or most of it. There's still a load to be sprayed and dried, but there's a whole load on here, as you can see. There's a lot of plants, there's going to be a lot of trees out of this, so it's looking pretty good. It will all change colour and go green, and I've got a load hanging on the main washing line for now. They're all going to be put inside to dry. I'm just leaving them to drip dry out here first. I'm probably going to get at least 100 trees out of this batch. Next year I'm going to do a better batch. I didn't do them as early as I should have done, so it'll be a whole load extra next year. So this is the progress so far anyway. Well, I have now cut down, put all the plants into the shed on hanging on strings. As you can see, it's not very good light in here, but that is a lot of seafoam. Each one of those is a separate plant. There's probably about 50 odd plants that I've grown. To be honest, the biggest and better ones are all at that end. Some of those I'm going to get 5 or 6 trees out of each one. I'm probably looking at 100 plus trees, maybe more. What I'm planning on doing is, I have over here these sheets of styrene, so I'm going to put some holes in here, cut all the trees down, put them into these, and then I'll put them up on a shelf out the way until I'm ready to spray them and stuff. But I'll show you when I've cut them all down how many trees I've got out of this first batch. It's quite a few, so a bit of a mess in my railway room at the moment, but as you can see, there's a lot of trees there. There's a lot of seafoam, all grown at home. So you can do it. It's not easy, and it's trial and error. Last year I tried some, it failed miserably, and I was a bit put off, and I nearly didn't do it again, but I'm glad I did. And for those of you who maybe don't want to grow it, just be aware next year I'll be starting growing them a bit earlier, because that's another issue I had. I didn't grow them at the right time. But next year I will be growing a lot more than this, a hell of a lot more than this, and I will be selling it, and it will be cheaper than retail ones. So keep your eyes open next year for that. I will give you guys all a shout, give you a link when I do that, so if you want some, you can get some. Anyway, that's it for this part. Obviously I shall come back and show you how many trees I've got out of it so far, and there's all that. I've actually still got in here all of this as well. There is tons. I've still got some great trees in here. Just for instance, look, just one there. That is a beautiful tree. I've got a lot more. These all need to be sprayed. So what you need to do is, once you harvest the plants, you do need to spray them. That's why they were outside hanging with a glycol water mixture. It helps make them better so they don't go too brittle and break when you're trying to use them to make trees with. I'm not quite so sure if the shop bought versions are sprayed or not, but if you're doing it yourself, you really need to do that, and that's why they're all hanging. The redness that's in them, that will all disappear, so I'll be leaving them for a week or two to hang. Obviously this video's been recorded over several months now, but like I said, I lost some of the video that I was recording on my old phone. But anyway, I've still got all that other lot in that tub to spray up and then hang, but I need to wait until this lot's dry because I've got nowhere to put it. And I've nearly used up all my spare clothes pegs, so got to leave some for the washing. Don't want the missus to get upset. Anyway, I will show you the next part when I get there, so see you all soon. Well, welcome back again, and this is the last part of this video. So I've trimmed a lot of the trees, and I have 130 trees that I've made. So we've got all of these here, so they don't shot very well against that bit of polystyrene, but to give you an idea, I have literally a whole forest. Obviously I still need to, I'm going to spray paint them all with brown paint and then put all the foliage on, which will be similar to, basically the same as what I did in a previous video, but that'll be, I may do another video on that later on, because I'm going to do some of the I forgot what they're called now, the trees with the sort of silver birch. That's it, silver birch. So I'll be doing some silver birch trees, so I might show you how I made those, because I didn't actually show that in a previous video, I don't think. But yeah, quite a lot there. I've also all of that lot, and is all that stuff in the bottom tub there, which is a big tub, very big tub. That's 80-litre tub, and it's nearly full up. Is all the offcuts. There's lots of bits in there that are useful, make bushes with, and if you're making trees in the way that some people do, where you cut off a little piece and stick it to armatures of trees, I have got a whole load of armatures, a little bag of them that I could use to do a load of smaller trees with some of this. But I will probably sell a lot of this as sort of like bit parts for that sort of making, just to get rid of some of it, because I won't need all of that. But I've also got in this top tub all of this lot in there still to be sprayed, and a few more trees to be made out of that. You can see one there that's going to make a good tree at the back. There's a few there. So I've got pretty much enough trees for most of the layout. I'm going to need quite a few in certain areas. I've still got around the farm area at the back of the field I need to do, and behind the farmhouse, and a few other bits. And I'm going to have a lot of sort of countryside scene coming across there towards the little preserve railway station, and the little village that's going to be going over in the far right corner over that way. So anyway, I thought I'd just obviously share with you how many trees I got out of it all. My first go at having a good, grow at these, and I will be doing, as I said previously, I will next year be doing a big batch. I won't need as many myself, so I will be selling quite a lot at reasonable prices, which I'll put on eBay, and I'll do a video at the time and let people know where they can get some to save some money, because I've sort of got the hang of growing them now. They are a little bit tricky, and I did have quite a few failures. You think how many plants I had out there, at least a quarter of those, maybe 30% even, didn't grow to be anything. So it's a lot of time, a lot of effort with sort of taking care of them, watering them, and obviously having some failures as well. So you've got to grow quite a lot of them, as you saw. But I've got a good plan for next year where I'm going to have a whole bed full of them. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see a video on me making some trees up, let me know and I will do that. In the meantime, stay safe, and I'll see you all soon. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.